All right, boys and girls, we are finally publishing our section about the characteristics of bears, their physical characteristics, and how they help them survive. So, our title page or cover, we're not going to make these revisions yet. We're going to leave it how it is for now. That's something we're going to do at the end. Same with these. We're just working on this section about physical characteristics. So, I'm ready now to number this as page 1 of my book. And I'm still going to leave some space for an illustration. I'm going to do that at the end. Okay. So, physical characteristics. I'm ready to write my heading. So I need to make sure that I'm capitalizing the word physical and the word characteristic. It's important that you're writing in pencil just in case you make a mistake. I'm writing in this color pen so it shows up nicely for you. Characteristics. Okay. So that's the title of this section of our book. So that's my heading for this chapter. And then remember when we looked back at the topic sentence in the book that we read about how that author made their topic sentence really interesting. So my topic sentence was, bears have lots of body parts. Is that a very interesting way to start my book? I don't think so either. I think I can do better. So I'm going to say I could say bears have lots of special body parts, because that's going to give my reader more information about how each part of the bear helps them survive and does something special. Bears have lots of special body parts. You know what else we talked about is how a bear has hardly any enemies. They are fierce, aren't they? So I think I'm going to say bears are fierce and have lots of special body parts. Okay, so remember I'm leaving some space for my picture. I'm going to start my words here. All right, good writers always start with a capital. Bears are fierce. That means that they're scary to other animals. And have, I'm going to say many special body parts. Is that a more interesting way to start my section of my book? I think so. Okay, make sure I put a period at the end. All right, so I've already written this. I'm going to cross it off of my draft paper here. Okay, so, and remember, I also realized yesterday after I was writing, when I looked back at my project organizer, I realized that I forgot to include that part about how much bears can weigh. So I need to make sure I say how much they can weigh. Remember, there was a range that they can weigh as little as 330 pounds and as much as 1,320 pounds. Or no, that's not right. It's 130 pounds. Okay, so I need to make sure I talk about the size. All right, so let me think about how I want to start that. I could say bears can weigh, so 130 was the lowest end of what they can weigh. 130 to 1,320 pounds, depending on their size. So I summarized what I read in the text, right? So did you see me open up the book and copy the words from the book? No. That would be something called plagiarism. That's a big word that means copying someone else's exact words. So what we need to do as good readers and writers is we need to read the text. We need to store that information in our brain. And then when we're doing our writing, we're taking that information out and we're putting it on our paper in our own words. That's called summarizing. It's a lot like retelling. We talked about that in Unit 1. Okay. So, depending on their size, okay, they can be black, brown, or white. That's 3 of the types of bears that we learned a lot about. Or white. Their color helps them. And I put camouflage, but I didn't give my reader enough information. I needed to make sure I told my reader what camouflage really means, right? Their color helps them blend in with their surroundings. Let's see if I have enough space to write this word here. Surroundings. I think I'm going to run out of room, so I'm going to start on the next line. Because remember, this is my final draft. This is my published copy. So I need to make sure it's really nice and neat. Blend in with their surroundings. This is called camouflage. Okay. And that's a term that we could add to our glossary at the end too. All right, I'm going to cross that out on my draft paper. Bears are big and strong. Their fur helps them regulate their temperature. So we've already said they're fierce and how big they can be. So I don't know if we need to really include that detail now about how they're big and strong. So I'm going to talk about their fur next. Bears have fur. Oh, and I need to go on to the next page because I've run out of space. Do you notice how much neater I'm writing in my final copy than I did on my draft pages? Okay, I was writing quickly for my draft, but now I'm taking my time. I'm doing my very best work. So now I would need to decide on page 2, number my page, do I want to include an illustration here? And I would need to save some space for it and decide if I wanted it at the top of my page, the bottom of my page. So that's something to think about. So I think I'm going to not include another illustration for mine, but you definitely should if you want to add more illustrations to yours. You might even want to add one with labels like we saw in our text. Okay, so let me look where I've left off again. Bears have fur that we said it regulates their temperature. Remember, we're using academic language. That means talking like a scientist. Regulates their temperature and remember what else we said their fur does? Protects them from, let's see where we are, protects them from insects and dirt. Insects and dirt. Period. Okay, so I've included that. They have large nostrils to smell food in the air, and their sharp claws and teeth scare away predators. I'm including a lot of great facts about bears. Okay, they have large nostrils to smell food in the air. Period. Okay, so I've included that detail. Their sharp claws and teeth scare away predators. Scare away predators. Their body fat helps provide food for them. They get their energy from their extra body fat when they're hibernating. Food for the bear when they hibernate. Remember, our conclusion sentence needs to kind of wrap everything up. So the good conclusion sentence that we thought we would include is, let's look back at our little draft notes. These physical characteristics help the bear survive. And I think that's perfect. I don't think that needs any revisions. We made some other changes, but I think that's perfect. So these physical characteristics help the bear survive. Period. Okay, so I would be at this point looking back and making sure that every sentence starts with a capital letter, ends with a period. I would make sure that I've included all the key details that I had in my draft and that my book looks exactly the way I want it to look. Okay. Boys and girls, I cannot wait to see what you guys come up with while researching your animal. Thank you so much for learning with me all week about the physical characteristics of our animals. I'm so glad that I got to share this time with you and teach you how to get your research book started. I can't wait to see your published book. You guys are going to be real authors. All right, happy writing.